بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لك ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم قل رب زدني علما أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله إن تبدوا فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So continuing with the discussion of riba, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all from getting involved and its effects. We're living in a time when Nabi alayhi salatu has mentioned that the riba will become so prominent and so prevalent that if you're not going to be burned up in its fire, you will not be safe from its smoke. And as we mentioned yesterday, it's permeated the entire economic sphere throughout the globe. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. Today we want to hear some of the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding interest and its, pursuant to the ayat, to leave interest, otherwise be forewarned of the declaration of war from Allah and His Rasul. So عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اجتنبوا السبع الموبقات قالوا يا رسول الله وما هي قال السحر وقتل النفس التي حرم الله إلا بحق وأكل الربا وأكل مال اليتيم وتولي يوم الزحف وقذف المحسنات الغافلات. So in this narration, the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said that abstain, very vehemently abstain from seven mubiqat, seven sins which will totally destroy one. Destroys the individual, it also destroys society. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, which are they? Number one, magic. We're not talking about the sleight of hand like the Houdini kind of magic. We're talking about, the type of magic, black magic, which is connected with the evil shayateen and the evil spirits. Number two, قتل النفس التي حرم الله إلا بحق. Killing the person, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden, which is anyone other than who deserves capital punishment. And number three, and in correlation to what we're discussing, aklur riba, eating of riba. Eating of riba meaning taking it. Aklu mal yatim, and eating and consuming the property of the orphan. Watawalli yawm az-zaf, and fleeing, in the face of the enemy. وقذف المحسنات الغافلات, and the accusation of the believing women who are also pure and chaste without proof, accusing them of adultery. May Allah save us all. Another very important hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رأيت الليل الرجلين أتياني فأخرجاني إلى أرض مقدسة فانطلقا حتى أتينا على النهر من دم فيه رجل قائم وعلى شطر النهر رجل بين يديه حجارة فأقبل الرجل الذي في النهر فإذا أراد أن يخرج رمى الرجل بحجر في فيه فرده حيث كان فجعل كل ما جاء ليخرج رمى في فيه حجر فيرجع كما كان فقلت ما هذا الذي رأيته في النهر قال آكل الربا. So Nabi alayhi salatu mentions that I saw in this evening, in other words, he saw in his dream, that two men came to him and took him to a most holy place, and we were moving along in that region, and then we came to a river of blood, and in that river of blood, or on the bank of the river of that blood, there was a man standing, and in front of him were a pile of stones. There was another man who was inside that nahar, and he was trying to exit that nahar. He was trying to get out of that river. And every time he would try and exit from the river, this man on the on the bank of the river would take one of these stones and throw it into his mouth and push him back, and he would be sent back for where he came from. And then he would again struggle to reach to the bank, and then again a stone would be thrown into his mouth. And so Nabi Sallallahu said, who is this individual? And it was told to him that this is a person who eats the interest. The last one that I would, or the last two riwayats, short riwayats, the other is that Rasulullah cursed the person who not only consumes riba, who takes it and consumes it, also the person who willingly gives it, and also the person who writes it, and also the people who witness it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. It's also mentioned that Rasulullah mentioned that eating of or consuming of interest is worse than 33 acts of adultery in Islam. And the last narration we want to mention is that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that when riba, when interest and usury becomes prevalent in a society, they will be overcome by drought. It's not here in California, the entire United States, throughout the world, water shortage, drought. What would be a key factor in that? Interest. So it's not only, as we mentioned, it's a disaster for the person who's being taken advantage of, but it's a disaster for the entire society, as we mentioned. People are putting their money into the banks, taking the interest, stopping the production, taking away jobs, shortage of things in the market. Shortage of things in the market means the price of the things raise, less resources to purchase. So the entire economy is inflated, and it goes on in a vicious circle. Whereas in engaging in lawful business, in bay'ah, in transactions, with equity and sharing of risk, then barakah comes into the society, and we see a deflation in prices and an increase of barakah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. It's a very difficult time that we live in, and may He make us means not only of abstaining from riba, but make us means of spreading the proper ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and being the end, be facilitating, ending this and lessening this burden on mankind. Ameen. Ameen. Wa akhir da'wan. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.